Welcome to the Power of Integrity podcast, where leadership aligns with principles. I'm Ralph Adamo, your host, and I'm delighted to be here with Sue Parks, President and CEO of Orange County United Way. Welcome, Sue.
Hi, Ralph. Thank you so much for letting me join you this morning.
It's wonderful. We haven't connected in a little bit, and this is really a great way to reconnect. Would you be kind enough to tell our audience a little bit about your professional journey and path that's led to where you are today? Kind of bring us down memory lane and all the way up to date?
It's a long memory, Ralph, but I'll do my best, right?
Yeah.
I grew up more in a corporate environment. I had spent many years in corporate America, but I gave to the United Way during local campaigns back in the day. But when it was probably, I hate to go back, but probably 2001, 2002, I was approached here in Orange County. Even though I worked primarily, I commuted a lot. I lived here, loved Orange County, but in my jobs, my corporate life took me elsewhere many, many weeks of the year. But somebody here found me and asked if I would help start a women's giving circle at Orange County United Way. And at the time, there weren't many of those around. And most of the time when people would ask for a philanthropic gift, they were going to the man in the family, right? And so at the end of the day, I said yes. And I'll say it really changed my life because it connected me more to Orange County. I met so many incredible women, people here in Orange County who cared and got them involved in what is still going strong, our Women United group, and an annual event we have, the Women's Philanthropy Fund Breakfast. But that started my journey here at United Way. And I ended up joining the board and fell in love with the organization even more. And in 2017 or so, Max, my predecessor, was retiring, fabulous individual. And I thought, I'm so passionate about the work we do in Orange County. I threw my hat in the ring, and here I am 7.5 or more years later. That brings you up to date.
Wonderful. I want to toot the horn of Max and your leadership as well, because I remember when United Way was producing reports and actually measuring impact, which is, rare that the nonprofit arena measures the impact so clearly. Can you speak a little bit to that? Because it was a real breakthrough in my estimation, watching what United Way was doing and continues to do in terms of measuring their impact and the results they're having here in Orange County and elsewhere.
Yeah, I really think it is something unique, and I really applaud our Orange County United Way for really taking the lead on, sitting back. I was part of the board at this time in 12 and 13 to say, what are the most critical things going on in the community, and how are we going to get measurable progress if everybody's just fragmenting, going here and there without measurable goals, right? We run businesses, that we all understand that, having measurable goals. So we put together our FACE 2024 strategic plan, a community strategic plan with very measurable goals. And we made a commitment, and inspired by our integrity, to share very transparently what we do and progress we're making or lack of progress. And so we started an annual readout to the community, which we still is our scorecard. And actually it's coming up, and we'll have it on our website, which I can share at the end. But it's a great way for the community to come and learn about what are the key issues, what progress we've made together as a community. And it'll also be an opportunity for us to talk later this year about the next strategic plan, because 2024 is over. We made it through 10 years, and our commitment to, live up to the plan and share about the plan is just part of the heart of who we are here at Orange County United Way.
Yeah, it was my recollection that on the scorecard, I know I'm getting into topics that are a little bit different, but I thought I explored a little bit with you. On the scorecard, there were 4 major areas that you were measuring. Is that an accurate recollection?
Ralph, you got an A+. Yes, you are recollecting well. We had a goal, a 10-year goal for the community. So these are community goals in terms of how do we achieve this together. But again, our own strategic programming supporting these goals is a big part of it. But there's also advocacy. There's the ecosystem of other nonprofits that are engaged in these. But a goal to cut the high school dropout rate in half when we kicked off in 2014. And I'm happy to say, as a community, that was achieved in 5 years. And then so how cool is that for Orange County? And the idea then, how do we really close the gaps in graduation rates between schools in the more affluent areas and the schools that are in more underserved areas in Orange County. And so we've made great progress on that. It'll be revealed at our scorecard in April, I believe April 9th, so more to come on that. But how do we reduce family financial instability by 25%? And that was measured. There wasn't a great way to measure that. And so we actually brought in outside consultants to create an index, the Family Financial Stability Index, that takes in different aspects of financial well-being. And so we measure against that. Again, as a community, we achieved that in 5 years versus 10. And then we are working to do it again. And that'll be announced at our next scorecard, how our results. So teasers here about what yet to come. And then on homelessness, we actually really became more focused because we got more educated on what was going on in homeless in the community. And that really was led by our focus on housing and homelessness because it's such a big critical issue for all of us here in this community. And so what we did in that is we started off by commissioning UCI to do a cost study on what was really going on because we wanted more facts. There was the riverbed, there were all these things, a lot of opinions, but really no facts to go on. And so we started with that, again, with good data, and we've made a lot of progress together as a community. It's an expensive place to live, and there's more we can do together. But again, we'll talk about our progress, especially around any homelessness for former foster youth, for our veterans and others, and our April scorecard. And then the one that's been most challenging, so I think this gets back to your discussion. It's probably a long-winded answer to your question, but thank you for asking, Ralph. But on our measurement around health, it was to improve children's health. And at the time, we had many hospitals involved. We had population health experts from UCI setting these goals. So this wasn't, again, just a group of business people coming together. That we had experts, and the most measurable goal was around BMI. And so for children, it was being measured at the time, and I think I got this right, in 5th, 7th, and 9th grade. But that stopped at the states. The measurement was taken away, and everything we want to do and deliver on needs to be around measurable goals. So in that, we had to stop that measuring that because of the measurement didn't exist. And so that is the one that we have been tracking different programmatic aspects of health in the community, but we lost the major goal. So that's, we are very candid about that. It's something that happens whenever you start a strategic plan, especially 10-year one. But we are very focused on the overall health of our community, which is really measured in all the things we do, the social drivers of health, right? Do you have a place to live? Do you have access to healthy foods? Do you have financial stability in your life? All these determinants of health we are focused on every day.
Yes, and doing wonders and wonderful work. Really appreciate everything that's going on there at United Way. And your leadership has really forged that future and kept that wonderful legacy, brought it up to date for sure. Nice work, everyone.
Well, it's a team effort. I've got a great team. We've got a very supportive community. And yes, we've been around a long time. Last year, I kept saying, I'm not turning 100, but Orange County United Way turned 100 last year. And I'm even more excited about what we can do together as we move forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, turning our attention to the topic at hand around integrity, and of course, the integrity, committing to numbers and measuring them and seeing results. But when you think about integrity, what does integrity mean to you, Sue?
It's living up to what you say that you're going to do. I think there's many aspects in it. I think about our values, certainly respect, a part of our value system here at Orange County United Way. I think that's a big part of it. Accountability that we talk to, like when we do something well, share it. If something's not going well, share it. Don't hide, right? Be there for each other, accept accountability, responsibility. So I think there's so many aspects. I think how I was brought up to, I think about like my family ethos growing up and all that. And I grew up in a household where my father didn't have the opportunity even to finish middle school. I mean, different times, different years, right? But when he ended up, working his way up from a truck driver to actually owning the company one day, his focus was always on hard work and kindness. And I think those are the two things that have driven me. And I think they're part of this whole integrity. I come to work every day, and I hope everybody has that same passion they do, but come to work every day and work hard. In this case, there's purpose every day, but in every interaction, you have kindness. And that's part of what I believe this whole big topic of integrity is about.
Yes. Yes. Would you have an example that you could share with our audience of where the principle of integrity played a key role in your professional journey?
Yeah, I think this maybe is a bigger thought. I mean, I can think on personal things, but I think one thing that we are committed to do and try to do every day is what's right for the people of Orange County. And so maybe some people know or not, but 19 months ago, we brought 211 Orange County into our organization. And for those of you who don't know it, 211 is the social services hotline for people in need. So when you are in an emergency, like your house is on fire or you need an ambulance, call 911. Call 911. But if you're and the people we serve, you need help. For example, you don't know if you're going to be able to feed your children this week. You're rent insecure, and you've gotten a notice, and you are worried that you're going to be evicted and might end up homeless. You're a senior, and you don't know if you have transportation to take you someplace. Call 211, and we run that for the community. And we had many, many nonprofits and other community folks that came to us and asked if we would bring it in and create a stronger 211 for our community. And I think in doing that, that wasn't a part of our strategic plan, but it was the right thing to do for the community. And that's our commitment, to do what's right for the community. So we took that leap and brought that in, and a very supportive board. But I'm really excited about what we can do together to strengthen 211. But it's part of our commitment to the community. So I feel like there's an integrity there to say, even though it wasn't part of our plan, we weren't prepared to bring it in, it was what was right, and we did it.
Yes, yes, and looking into your organization, the team you built, how do you feel integrity's impacted the followership and the loyalty that you develop with your team?
Yeah, I think I've been around a long time, maybe not in the nonprofit community, but always showing up. And I think, those are things as leaders. I mean, it's kind of that hard work, but being accessible, not hiding from tough conversations, all of those things that I value. I feel like that my team, strives to do. And it's something that we work on together. How do we create a culture of accountability? How do we a culture of kindness? So I look for those skill sets in the people, or those traits in people I hire. I want to make sure that they have that right heart, and are delivering, besides their practical school knowledge, right? How do they act? I think is really important. And being visible. So it's an interesting time with this hybrid world that we've lived in and all that, because sometimes, it makes sense for people to work remotely, and we allow, certain part, but there is nothing like being together as a team and be able to look each other in the eye and be, know that we're there for each other. I mean, we are there for each other, but my team comes in, and I feel that spirit. I do have and I think this came from Gallup, but I have 4 words that I always have on my board: trust, compassion, stability, hope. And I think they all are integral in terms of integrity. But I read years ago that those 4 things are what causes people to follow a leader. And I think that inspires me, for me as a person, for my leadership team. They see those words every single day, because it's about not what I think, it's what people want to follow our organization. And I feel those are traits I want people to feel about Orange County United Way too. That, we give hope, that we treat people with compassion. We're stable. We're going to be here. We're going to go through hard times, and we're going to do everything we can to lift people up. And that inspires trust, which is all part of integrity. So those are the characteristics I look for in individuals, and I hope it's expressed out in the community every day.
Wonderful. And I can hear your father in echoed through your words. You used kindness, you used heart, you used compassion, and that's what you said he kind of lived for, one of his precepts, along with hard work.
Yeah.
Real testament to him. Well, when you think about your constituents, those you serve, you know, I think when I talk to corporate America and the for-profit world, I ask them about their customers and their clients and how integrity helps with their consumers. But you have your constituents you care for. How does integrity play a role in that environment?
Well, I can think of a number of ways. I think about our work on homelessness, and so there's a cool collaboration. This is like I love this element of what we do. So a few years ago, when the homelessness topic really was front page because of the riverbeds and everything that was going on, we used that cost study I mentioned earlier. We brought together business leaders, philanthropists, government leaders, nonprofits, faith leaders into a room to say we could do better together and be more united. And we created United to End Homelessness, so which again has been an amazing journey. But one of the things we found that there in our research around the country, that there wasn't a strong visible landlord incentive program that worked across the county to incent landlords, private owners, to take somebody who has a housing voucher and end their homelessness. And it was going on, but very in small ways. And we really brought together a program, and we created Welcome Home OC. We had lots of input from apartment owners, the apartment association, what would make it from their side good to house somebody. And because of our brand, I think, and the trust, the integrity of us, landlords said, okay, well, if we know the United Way is involved, we will sign up. So we have close to 150 different size property owners part of our network. But then we take somebody with a housing voucher. So what was kind of amazing is when we first started this, the Santa Ana Housing Authority called to say there's a brand new vouchers for former foster youth. We are eligible for 25. Can you help us find housing? And we said yes. So within 2 months, we had found a home for all 25 of those former foster youth. We had found somebody to take them in. It's just extraordinary. We were the fastest in the entire country, Ralph, in terms of doing that. And every day, our team is working with the housing authorities. We brought Orangewood in to help be the case managers. They understand and do beautiful work with the former foster youth audience, social services. So it's a little ecosystem, right, around this. But the other day we had, one of the gentlemen that had been, living on the streets, former foster youth, and he's now in his own apartment, and his message is just he has hope. He never had hope before. And I think how sad it makes me kind of cry, right? Somebody doesn't feel like they have hope. This gentleman has hope. He's studying in a medical field. He has a place to go home every night and study and get disciplined because he wants to move on with his life. He had a tough start, but I feel like that compassion he felt, and he also knows his community is behind him. And that's what I want everybody who's listening to this know. You could be part of this. There's something that you can do to help us move this forward. And it's helping that next generation. It's helping so many people move on with their lives in a very positive way.
Yeah, wonderful work going on. I always take the opportunity to turn this on its head, this topic of integrity, and ask those folks that are on the show to speak about a time, an incident, without breaching any confidences, where the counterparty that you engaged with, whether it was in your for-profit prior life or your current world, where that counterparty didn't have the sufficient integrity, and how that situation turned out, kind of as a cautionary tale for some of our listeners about what to look for and what to avoid.
Yeah, so I will go on the no name category kind of thing, but this goes back in my corporate life years ago, and I always think about this story because I had risen pretty quickly in my corporate life, and I think part of it was because of that hard work and delivering results. Right, that's how I was brought up, and so I had risen quickly, and I was in a pretty significant role with the organization, and my boss just thought I was too nice, and it was I thought a strength of mine, right, to be kind and nice in what we're talking about. But it was an era where I think being tough, you could be tough and nice at the same time, right, type of thing. But it was just so not it was so against my values in terms of that. And it was really, really tough, but I decided I wasn't going to change, and they didn't want me there and all that. And at the end of the day, that person ended up having to leave the company. And a few years later, Ralph, I was reading USA Today. Remember when we actually read papers in our hand? You get on a plane and people had paper. And
Yeah.
I was reading about worst bosses in the world, and that person was in the list from their next job. And but you know what? I stayed true to who I was, and that was my best coaching. Right? If it's not a good fit, and many times if you join an organization, within the first few days if it's a fit. Right? You know pretty quickly, and if you're feeling that early on, it might not get better. Right? So I think it's having that sense, type of thing. I had another situation where a new leader came in, and I ran a big chunk of this organization that focused on our largest clients. And the person never asked me once about clients. And I'm like, that's kind of like crazy, right? It just didn't feel aligned. So I think alignment is really, really important when you approach any position or opportunity.
Yeah, it's a real gem to be true to oneself. Absolutely. Above all else, be true to thine own self. I think that was Thoreau, if I'm not mistaken. Words of wisdom. So, as we're thinking about some of this in terms of insights that you've learned over your career and through your life's travels, what for our younger audience, what things would you tell them, those that are starting out in their own practices, business with a new company, even in the nonprofit development world? What things would you share with them that you've learned that would be accelerants for their growth?
It's funny. I was talking to somebody the other night. Is that you have to be visible. You have to be engaged. You are amazing, Ralph. You're bringing people together. You're communicating. You're making it really easy for people to come together, right? There's a lot of folks, and I feel like it's something that we've lost maybe in the last few years, where there's opportunities to network, to go to something, to get involved. And it's so easy because you're at home going, oh, I don't want, like I'm tired. I got my gym shorts on or my sweatpants, I'm just going to stay here. And no one's going to know who you are. You're not going to get involved in these amazing things. I think about the volunteer activities we have at Orange County United Way. And there are amazing people who volunteer for us, all the way from our board members, who's a stellar group of individuals, leadership councils for each of our initiatives, actual volunteer events, putting together kits, painting murals on schools. If somebody said yes and joined one of those, they would be possibly next to the CEO of a major company here, right? And so I'm encouraging everybody to get involved. And I'll speak for the nonprofits. We all have opportunities for you to get involved. But just don't sit home and go, oh, I gave out GoFundMe to this or that or whatever. And you think your community, you are part of your community, and get involved. And I think that's the biggest thing I would say right now. I feel it's really easy to stay home. And when you're home, you're not visible. And when you're not visible, you're not going to have those career opportunities. You're not going to go, oh, wow, that person would be great on my board. That person, the next time I have a big opening at my executive team, I'm going to reach out for that person because I don't know you, right? And I think showing up is a part of it. There's probably a great quote in there that you also know who said it, but showing up is a big part of it.
It sure is. It absolutely is. We've been enjoying a conversation here with Sue Parks, the president and CEO of Orange County United Way. Sue's a dynamo. She leads a dynamo team, and she's been doing dynamic work here in Orange County, helping a lot of the folks get a real hand up and a leg up on things. And it's been really a delight speaking with you. I'm wondering, Sue, if folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I would say just email me at SUEP, SUEP, as in Parks, at unitedwayoc.org. That would be great. And I'm happy to answer any questions. If you're interested in what we do, get involved. You can obviously go to the unitedwayoc.org website as well and learn about some of the other things. But please reach out. I'm really easy to find. Most of the time wearing orange for Orange County.
Yeah, and easy to work with as well. And as I would remind our audience, there's the 3 T's. You don't have to just give your treasure. You can give your time. You can give your talent. And those 2 things come free of charge, and you're giving this community. So we're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And if we can be part of the solution, we can help others. It's been a delight speaking with you, Sue. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Really look forward to us connecting again real soon in the future.
Well, always great to see you, Ralph, and thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
The information presented in this program is provided for informational purposes only. The information is believed to be reliable, but no guarantee of accuracy is made or implied. Expressions of opinions are as of this date and are subject to change without notice. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult a legal or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. This information does not constitute a solicitation or an offer to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of capital. Ralph Adamo is registered with the securities and are offered through Kovac Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC, 6451 North Federal Highway, Suite 1201, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33308. Telephone number 954-782-4771. Investment advisory services are offered through Kovac Advisors, Inc. Integrity Wealth Management is not affiliated with Kovac Securities, Inc. or Kovac Advisors, Inc.